Hey guys, it's Bridgie from Bougie Texas Barbecue, and today I'm going to show y'all how to make smoked brisket tamales. Hope y'all are excited because I definitely am. Let's get into it. All right guys, so the very first thing we're going to do to make our brisket tamales is to cook our brisket. This is a 20-pound brisket that got trimmed down to 17 pounds. Once it's fully cooked, it's going to yield about 7 to 8 pounds of cooked brisket, which is going to work for this cook because if your family's like mine, I have a couple of picky eaters that are not going to eat the tamales. So I'm going to use half of the brisket meat for the tamales and just half to enjoy. Now, when it comes to what you're actually going to season your brisket with, that does matter. There is a lot of seasonings that go into tamales. Remember that not all seasonings can be smoked. They can over caramelize and ultimately result in a bitter bite. Today I'm going to use this brisket rub and ancho mix. I really like it for these Tex-Mex style recipes. If you don't have a seasoning like this, you can just use salt, pepper, or SPG. And just like all other brisket cuts, you are going to season heavily. And as always, I don't recommend rubbing your seasonings in. I recommend that you pat them in. And you just want to make sure you get all sides of the brisket. All right, friends, so we are going to set and forget this brisket. 225. If you want to bump up the temperature throughout the cook, feel free. But this is why I love the Tahoma 900 so much, especially during the holiday season. If you're the main cook in your family and you have to make sides and stuff, the last thing you're going to want to be worrying about is managing a fire. Now, this brisket's going to be cooking for a very long time. So in the meantime, I'm going to show you how to make the chile mixture that we're going to mix into this brisket, as well as the masa. Don't worry, I'll give y'all a sneak peek before slicing and shredding this brisket. So let's just get into it. And we're going to cook these peppers at a medium heat. So I'm just going to add a splash of avocado oil. This is just to bring the aromatics out of the peppers. But first I'm going to add half a large yellow onion. I'm going to bring the heat down a little bit to a medium low. And this is because you don't want to overcook the dried peppers for the tamale sauce because they will get bitter. I'm gonna let this saute for a few minutes. Next, I'm gonna add 12 small to medium tomatillos. Next, you're gonna add about 20 Mexico chili pods or guajillo peppers. We're also gonna add either 2 large ancho peppers or 3 small ancho peppers. And again, it's really important to only saute them for a few seconds. And then you're gonna add roughly 1 tablespoon of garlic paste. You can add fresh garlic, but we're doing a lot today, so the last thing I wanted to do was peel some garlic. At this point, this is exactly where I want my peppers. I can really smell them. They smell really strong, and that's just a good indicator of when to add your water. You're gonna add 6 cups of water, and you're gonna bring it to a boil. While the water comes up to a boil, I'm gonna add allspice, ground clove, and beef broth concentrate. All right, guys, so once your dried peppers have doubled in size and your tomatillos turn this darker colored green, they are pretty much ready to go and get blended. We are going to keep them separate because this is what's going to get mixed into our brisket meat. As far as the broth, set that to the side and let it cool down. That's going to be mixed into our masa. For extra flavor, you can add some of the chile paste into the masa, but that step is optional. This broth right here has all the flavor our masa is going to need. All right, guys, as promised, I did tell y'all I was going to give y'all a sneak peek of the brisket before shredding. And this is how it came out. So the first thing that I noticed is the bark is so beautiful, and I can already tell how rendered the fat is. So all it needs to do is rest. I'm gonna wrap it with some beef tallow, some butcher paper, and let it rest while I show y'all how to make the masa. All right, guys, so we have officially entered the most complex part of the cook is the masa. Don't get me wrong. Smoking a brisket can definitely be difficult if you're not used to it or don't have your routine, but I'd rather make a brisket than make masa any day. But as long as you follow these steps, I got you, and you'll be able to nail tamale masa on your first try. To nail a perfect tamale, you have to make sure your lard gets nice and fluffy. So that's what we're gonna do first. There's a couple ways you can do it. You can do it by hand, you can use a hand mixer, but honestly, getting a auto mixer like this one just cuts the masa time in half, but you can definitely use a hand mixer if you don't have one. I'm gonna let y'all know right now, if you do it by hand, it has to have like a fluffy whipped cream, almost lotion look and a feel. I know a lot of these mixers are really expensive, so if you cannot afford one, get a hand mixer. You want to fluff your lard for about 20 minutes to 30 minutes with a hand mixer. If you have an automated one like this one, you're really only going to need to fluff it for like 10 or 15 minutes. And I'm at the point where I can eyeball my lard. Definitely measure it out if you've never made tamales before. You're going to want to mix it at a medium speed for about 10 to 15 minutes or until it's nice and fluffy. This is how your lard should look when it's ready to go. Before you add any corn flour or maseca, you need to add about 5 teaspoons of baking powder, and this is where you want to add your salt. So you get that all in there, and we're gonna whip it for another 5 minutes before we start adding our maseca. Now, there's a lot of things that can go wrong when it comes to tamales. From a lot of trial and error when it comes to the masa, I found the easiest way to get the broth and maseca mixture correct is by putting 1 cup of maseca to 1 cup of broth. Mix it until it is completely mixed, and then you'll add your next cup. So we are going to need a total of 6 cups of maseca, 6 cups of broth. And as I said earlier, if you want to add your chiles that are going to be in the brisket, you can add about a half a cup to 1 cup. It's 100% up to you. So I'm going to add 1 cup of maseca and 1 cup of broth. Now, it is important that you wait till your broth cools down. Do not put scorching hot broth. Now we're going to start off at a lower speed, because if you start mixing it, the broth is just going to splash up. Work your way up to a medium to medium high speed. All right, guys, so I have my 6 cups of maseca and 6 cups of broth all nice and mixed in, but you can see that the masa is still pretty light. Beef tamales are usually red or red orange, and that's where the chili mixture comes in effect. You can see it's a nice bright red. So it's ultimately up to you how much you want to add. Honestly, I add between like half a cup to 1 cup. So I'm just going to add that directly into the masa. The rest of the chile mixture is going to go into the brisket. Add a little bit more just for love. So I'm going to let the mixer do its thing, and I'll see y'all in a little bit. Remember, 30 minutes with an automatic mixer. Blending it with a hand mixer, you are going to blend it for about 45 minutes. And if you're doing it by hand, you're looking at an hour to mix it. So this is how your masa should look. It's nice and orange, it's fluffy, and it's pretty much good to go. I do recommend resting it at room temperature for about 20 minutes before you actually build your tamales. My brisket's actually done resting at this point, so I'm gonna give y'all a look at the brisket while our masa is resting. And then I'm going to show you how I build my tamales for the holiday season and how to pretty much nail it, because you don't want the masa too thick. I'll go into details for a little bit, but I'm going to set this masa to the side and let's get into the brisket. All right, guys, so our brisket is officially rested and she is beautiful. I can tell how rendered she is. The bark is beautiful and it's just ready to go. As I said in the beginning of this video, I am going to split this brisket. So half of it is going to go for the tamales and the rest of it is going to go just to enjoy as is. I did just want to give y'all a preview on how the brisket came out. So it took a total of 9 hours at 225 degrees. I did bump the temperature up about 5 hours in to 250 degrees. As for the last 2 hours hours of the cook, I did bump it up to 275 degrees because it did go through a late stall, but it was perfect. It looks delicious and it's pretty much ready to go. So I'm literally just going to split it in half just to kind of show y'all how it came out. It's beautiful. Nice smoke ring, beautifully rendered meat. I mean, doesn't get any better than that. And as far as the flat goes, same thing. So I'm going to cut it in half for us and then the rest for the tamales because I want a good mixture of fat to lean meat when it's going into the tamales. You don't want to put too much of the point because texture wise, they'll just get mushy. So I'm going to slice it to about right here. And this will be just to enjoy as is. So now I'm just going to get this meat shredded, get it mixed into the chile mixture, and then I'm going to show y'all how to build the tamales. All right, guys, so now I got all this half of the brisket shredded. So now all I got to do is add it to my chile mixture. That same chile mixture that we added to the tamales, you don't need to strain it. You just make sure that it is thoroughly mixed. Now it's officially time to build our tamales. I told y'all it's going to be a lot of work, but I promise you this will be your new signature holiday dish. So let's get into it. All right, guys, so it's officially time to build our tamales. I like to use the bigger corn husks versus the smaller ones just because it makes folding a little bit easier. It's also best to soak these overnight, but if you forgot, don't worry, just leave them in hot water for a couple hours. And before you add your masa, make sure that you're placing it on the smooth side of the corn husk. Using a spatula to spread the masa is the easiest way to do it. You're going to add a thin but even layer onto the smooth side of the corn husk. Remember not to add too much because this masa is going to expand while it's steaming. While it might seem like I'm not adding a lot of masa, this is the desired amount. I promise if you add a lot, it's going to come out super thick and it's not going to be a good bite. It should look just like this. And the same rules apply for the brisket filling. If you put too much meat, it's going to break the masa and you won't be able to fold it correctly. So the best advice I can give you for how much meat you should add, as long as you can fold the tamale gracefully without having to tuck or move the meat, you're good to go. And that pretty much covers everything you need to know when it comes to the masa and the filling. If you do have any questions, make sure you put it down below in the comments and I will do my best to answer. Now let's talk about the steaming process. You are going to need a large steaming pot. This is a 32 gallon. You're going to fill it with about 10 cups of water or more. As long as the water is under the separator, you're fine. You do not want to submerge your tamales at all. Adding those extra corn husks on top of the separator is optional, but I do recommend it. As I said earlier, we don't want these tamales getting wet at all. All we want is the steam. Now all you have to do is add your tamales. We are going to steam them at a medium heat for 90 minutes to 2 hours. And you want to stack them gently next to each other, not on top of each other. You don't want to squish your tamale. The way you put your tamale in is the way it's going to come out. So make sure there's enough space in between them. Add any remaining corn husks on top of your tamales as well as with a kitchen towel. This is just to trap the steam. This is just to ensure that all the tamales are steamed evenly. So make sure to leave them undisturbed for at least 90 minutes before checking. Please be careful when you're checking on your tamales because they will be extremely hot. Okay, so with this tamale, you can see that the masa is separated from the corn husk. That's how you know when your tamales are ready. Right now, they're still kind of mushy. What you need to do is remove them from the pot and let them sit at room temperature for about 20 minutes before serving. That's exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna pull these out, let them rest, and I will see y'all in about 20 minutes. All right, guys, so we are at the end of this recipe. This is about half of my tamales. The other half did not make it out of the kitchen. So that just shows that they were that good. Just from the color of the corn husks, you know these are going to be good. For me, opening up a tamale is like the best thing for Christmas. Look at that, guys. That is perfect. Now these little dark spots are just the meat, which could use a little bit more masa, but that's definitely okay. Like seriously, you're gonna tell me that it does not look good? If y'all enjoyed this video and would like more videos like this, don't forget to like and subscribe. I hope y'all have a great holiday season. Till next time, guys, enjoy.